Hi there, it's Tina at Tina Stitches. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel I have on YouTube for sharing my cross stitch. I've not been very regular at it lately, but you know, that's life. So we're just gonna get on to the stitching. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back to all of my wonderful friends who come back every single time. Some have reached out and asked where I was, and I'm still here. Just been busy, and you know, it's been summer, so it's been nice, and we've been doing outside stuff. And yeah, so I haven't been very active on social media at all, so sorry. Not sorry. It's just the way it is. Yeah. So, yeah, we call these kinds of channels Flosstubes. It's been about 2 months since my last video. I would say that I've stitched a lot, which is true, but there are not a lot of different projects. Granted, it's been 2 months, so I do have about 8 or 9 to show you. And a little bit of haul, just a little tiny bit, because budget. So I will just get right into it. August was Mirabilia stitching for me, and the reason for that was because Rose, I will try to remember who it was and put their names. Somewhere to link their YouTube channel, because it was their idea to stitch on Mirabilias for August. I thought about doing arbitrary August, but I just honestly just wanted to focus on something. I didn't want to have to pick a different thing every day. I find that's what works best for me. I stitch for a week or 2 on a project and then switch it out. So the first project that I picked for this was Cassiopeia by Mirabilia. That's what it'll look like when it's finished. Here's where it was when you last saw it. And here's where it's at now. And this is stitched on 32 count Dawn. I'm going to say it's Dawn. I might be wrong. 32 count Dawn Belfast linen by Picture This Plus. And what I stitched on, if I move my needle minder, you might be able to see the actual stitching. So I worked mostly in here, bringing these colors up, and this is all new. So this is right to the edge, and then there'll be a border coming up as well. But it was a little bit snug to the edge in my Q-snap, and I'm one of those people that once it's in the Q-snap, I'm just stitching it what I can reach. I'm not gonna reposition. I try to do that as little as possible. I like to just pick it up and stitch. 2 strands over 2, And that's where we're at. And this actually, it's overcast, but it's really good lighting. Of course. Just a heads up, this might be broken into 2 parts because I might have to leave, which has been the norm for the last few months. So the next project I'm going to share is Queen Mariposa, another Mirabilia. I believe I worked 2 weeks on each of these, which was pretty much the whole month of August. 2 weeks on Cassiopeia, and then put it down and switched out to Queen Mariposa. Here's what it looked like before, last time you saw it. And here's where we're at now. And this is stitched on 32 count. Oh, I just had the card. I didn't even look at it. Zephyr by Picture This Plus. And almost all of this looks the same. The main change was this entire skirt here was not stitched at all. And now you can see I've filled it in, except for all those blanks, which will be beads. Lots and lots of beads. I do have the dog in here, so I have to be careful where I put stuff. So the next project I'm going to show you, I don't even know if I worked on this since my last video, but I think I did. I didn't keep good records for August. Literally, normally, this is how I keep track of stuff. Right, I have a list, and then I just, mark off what I worked on. And for August, I just made a list. I didn't mark anything off at all. So I was too busy to even transfer over all my project information. So I think I worked on this. I'm sure that I only did the outlining of the of the boxes, and I do have a lot of beading to do on this. I bead at the end, but I also need to do the back stitching for this. Yeah. This is Dressmaker's Daughter by Mirabilia. Oh my god. My dog has horrible gas. So this is what it looks like. And I stitched this on 32 count. Sweet Lavender by XJudeDesigns, Belfast linen. I do like Belfast linen for Mirabilias. Yeah. I know that I'm going to have an issue with finding some charms and some beads. I thought I had all the beads. I had 2 packets of beads, so I did do a order at 123, and I got most of the beads, but there's about there's one Magnifica, I believe, and a set of charms, which is no longer made, that I need to get or substitute out. So I am searching for those. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know when I'm going to start beading that. Beading takes a lot of space, and I don't have a lot of space. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I'm just going to grab the next one. Here, this is the one that I started in July for my birthday, and I bought the thread pack and the pattern off of Owl Forest Embroidery because I did not get the kit. So I will have to source the beads, etc. myself. I do have one of the charms, but this is Queen of Hearts by Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm stitching this with the kit with the Owl Forest threads. And here's where I am. And I'll do a side by side. Here's where it was last time you saw it. This is being stitched on 32 count something. I picture this plus. It's a buttery kind of color. So once again, in the Q-snap, I went as far as it was comfortable, and then I went as far as I was comfortable. Yeah, there's more stitching to do along the sides, which I might start soon. I have been using Petite Treasure braid instead of, I don't even know what it calls for, but I believe it's Light Effects. And I don't like DMC Light Effects. So this here, this black, is Petite Treasure braid. And I have various reds and golds to look at for the red and gold option. The red and gold metallics required. I bought almost all the reds that I could find on 123. So these are all the reds, and I think I'm going to go with PB88. I think that will be the best option. And I am using PB05 for the black. And I haven't decided which gold to use. But I have two options in here. I have a lot more in my stash, but I think I narrowed it down to these two, and I just need to make a decision. But it might be a different option. And they did not have any more of the Swarovski heart in the color called for on the chart, but I did find Siam. So Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was cyan that was called for and I can't find that. Whatever it was, I have a substitute. And it's red. It's a heart. It'll work. So, put things back in the bag. Now, this latest one is the one that I've been working on most recently, and I call it my sexy sampler. And I've tried showing this design, but there's just not a good picture of it. The letter T by GGR. Les belles lettres de GGT. It's not just because of the glare. It's tone on tone. So you can just imagine what it's going to look like. Here's where it was when you last saw it. And it's in the Q-Snap. I've been working on it this week. Here's where we're at now. So the last time when I put this away, this was finished, this was finished, that was done, this is new, this here, and this big tree here, and the two birds, that's new, and this little bit here is new. I'm stitching this on 35 count Edinburgh linen that I dyed myself with Rit and Anchor Black, which is such a nice contrast. 2 strands over 2, full cross. This is page 4 of 6, and that's about 1/4 of, this is the page break right here. No, sorry, this is the page break. This thread is on the next page. So, yeah, still just under half the design left to do. No, I'm not going to put it back in the bag. Okay, so the last 3 that I am going to be sharing are my full coverage because it's been so long. I did work on all 3 of them. So the first one I'm going to show is the one that I'm going to be working on next because its turn has arrived, and this is Hatter by Gecko Rouge. This is what it will look like when it's finished, and here's where it was when you last saw it, and here's where we're at now. So it's been a while since I was working on it, but pretty sure this is the area I was working in. It was this area in general. Just trying to bring it all up to the same line here. Just picking a color and filling it in as far as I can. Usually I'm picking the lowest color and, yeah, filling it in. I'm trying not to park on this one. I do park. I have parked in the past I have parked a lot, but because this one is fairly heavy confetti, I'm trying not to park and leave giant masses of threads hanging. Every project is different. Some projects I like to park, some projects I don't. Sometimes, you know what, next year I might love parking on this thing, but right now I don't. So, and it is stitched on the kit fabric, which is gridded, but I don't use the grid because it's a 20 by 20 grid and the pattern is 10 by 10 grid, and so I would just get lost. I use it more for placement, like I know, okay, it is in the right spot because it is, you know, 5 stitches over from a grid line. That's really all that I use the grid line for. But yeah, we will be getting into his face pretty soon. That's the start of it right there. So, that is Hatter by Gecko Rouge. Artwork by Omri Koresh. The next one is Inner Depths by Chris Ortega. This is what it will look like when it's finished and where it was when you last saw it. Oh, I'm gonna gag. Really? I don't know if I showed it when it was where it was when you last saw it. But here it is now. And I've been working across, and yeah, just going across, filling in from the lowest, working it up. Okay, in this case, the way you're looking at it, it would be from the highest, working it down. But when I have it on the frame, I'm working on it upside down. So it's the lowest going up. I have my screen lock set on my tablet so that when I am working on this, I have it upside down and I'm marking it off that way. So yeah, I just have to be careful when I say park in the upper right, that I'm actually parking in the upper right, which would be the lower left when stitching on it upside down. It might confuse some people, but I've got it. I figured it out. It doesn't bother me. So this is where it's at. And pretty soon we will also be hitting her. She's about here. We're going to be seeing her hair pretty soon. And yes, I am parking. I am also using away waste method, where when I'm done with the thread, I just pull it over and bring it up, and eventually it'll get stitched over the back. Back will get stitched, and those ends can be trimmed off. This is what it looks like from the back. And yes, I do travel. This is a full coverage, so it's not going to show between anything, so yeah, that's where that's at. This one is not the max color. This one, or is it? Yes, it is max colors. And even at max colors, It's like 97 colors or something like that. So it's not a huge amount of thread. 6 cards like this. So manageable. I think that I like this the best out of all of the thread management systems that I've used. Bobbins in a bobbin box was always my go-to, but I find that I end up with, once I start stitching on something, the bobbin gets left on the top, and then the next bobbin gets pulled out and it gets left up there, and then there's a little pile of bobbins on top of the bobbins in the bobbin box. So that can get messy, and I'm finding I'm probably going to switch out the bobbin system that I'm using for my Mirabilias. Right now the threads in the box are for 3 different Mirabilias, those 3 I just showed you. I think I'm going to take them all out of the box and make thread cards for them, because that's much easier for me. Inner Depths is stitched on 25 count antique white Lugana 2/1 half cross, and I am currently at 9%. I did write down some stats. 9% for Inner Depths and 33.8% for Hatter. Hatter is nowhere near as big. It's maybe half the size, so its stitching goes a lot faster. I also been working on it a lot longer. It was started in 2019, New Year, New Start. So it's 4 years old now. So 10% a year. So, okay, now this next one, my last and final project to share, is possibly the biggest project that I have. I'm stitching this, a stitching shelf by Amy Stewart, which will look like this when it's finished. I'm stitching this with Carolyn Zook and Kim from Stitch and Stuff. Carolyn Zook, C Zook Stitch, and we have a Facebook group called A Stitching Shelf Sal, and I can't wait to see their progress. But here's mine. Honestly, I cannot remember where it was when you last saw it. You will have seen the previous picture, but I've been working in this area here. I dropped down from the summer shelf to the autumn shelf. In the spring, I moved to autumn. Yeah, no, in the summer I moved to autumn. I only started switching to the seasons whenever, because I got tired of working on the spring shelf at the top. And in the spring I moved to summer. Summer I moved to autumn. Come autumn, I hope to move to winter. Here's where we're at. So when I got over here and started working on her, now I'm trying to get her as filled in as possible, and then start the shelf part below her so that I can go on to winter. Now the winter part on this, on this side has a lot of color changes. The one on this side is not so many color changes. So I'm not sure which scene I will go to. Maybe I'll just do background. But yeah, so there's where it's at. This is at 37,107 stitches, which is 9.8%. I am behind my goal of, well, 10% a year, and I started this August 12th, 2022, so I should have been at 10% 4 weeks ago. With these 3 projects, my full coverage, they're all stitched 2/1 half cross, and they are primarily stitched in the mornings before I go to work. 20 to 30 minutes a day. Set a timer, whatever works out to that I have available. Set a timer, start stitching. Sometimes I get 70 stitches, sometimes I get 150 stitches. And then when I get to the nearest 1,000, I will switch out the next time I sit down. I will switch out to the next project. My rotation right now is stitching shelf, inner depths, stitching shelf, hatter, stitching shelf, inner depths. I'm doing that for now. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep it like that, but it might change up to where I'm going from this to just inner depths or just hatter during the course of a month. We'll see. This one has a lot more colors than inner depths. Another dog just snuck in. And these are the color cards for it. So yeah, I can't remember how many colors, but a lot. Also stitched on 25 count antique white Lugana. I believe I got one piece and cut it for both inner depths and stitching shelf. So that's all the stitching that I can recall that I worked on. Come here. Come on. Here's Gidget. She's the sneaky one coming in here. What you doing? She's the healthy one. Yeah. And here is the not so healthy one, who I just disturbed her nap. Oh, up you go. There. There she is. Yeah. So, doing pretty much the same as she had been before. She has rheumatoid arthritis and is blind, so yeah. And now she's stinky. So, what else do I have to share? I have not, this is staring at me. No, I have not done anything on these. See, it's ready to just bead. Just pick it up and just put some beads on it. yeah. So haul. Not a lot, but it's a noisy bit of haul because there's a big bag of beads and charms for Dressmaker's daughter. Cute little pair of scissors because I love scissors. I don't even have a pair in every bag or anything like that. I just have a pair beside my chair, and the rest are up on the board, or there are some in different project bags because I will take a project in the car or project to work, which I haven't been doing any stitching on that lately. You know, if I know that I'm going to need a pair of scissors with that project because it's a traveling type project, I'll put a pair in there. So this is what this pair looks like. And a pattern, and this one is completely the fault of Amy from Mimi Stitchery and Gail from Gail's Golden Needle. I wasn't going to do any of these. Then I saw this one. I don't think they've stitched this one yet. And I was like, yep, I'm going to stitch that one. It's the Beaver from The Year in the Woods by Cottage Garden Samplings. I also got the 2 Weeks Dye Works threads that it calls for. I don't have the fabric yet, but I think I am going to go with 40 count or close to 40 count because of the size. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do 2/1 or whatever, but I will be working on this sometime soon-ish. I'm not sure when I'm going to start it. I don't have any starts planned. No, that's not true. I have a start planned. When I am in the mood for a new start, this is going to get started. Yeah. Christmas Sled Stocking by Dimensions Gold. I got it a couple months ago. It is for my nephew's wife. So that is going to be started. I'm thinking soon. Yeah. But aside from that, I think that's really all that I have to share. I'm surprised that I was able to get it all filmed without being interrupted to leave. Yeah, a little bit of life, couple of things. I don't really... I can only tell you so much, and there's really not a lot to tell. But the main reason why I don't have as much time lately is my mother-in-law is in hospital. She's now living in hospital because she's fallen down too many times. And so we've been spending a lot of our days just going to the hospital to visit. And my husband has been cleaning out her apartment. So we're going through all of that stuff. And she has until the end of September to get the apartment emptied. Obviously, we have to get the apartment emptied. And so whatever spare time that we do have, we've been going out kayaking. That's our latest thing. And we are enjoying it. Yeah. So I think that's really all that. Oh, and my son is getting married. We have decided to do the ceremony at the hospital because they have a beautiful courtyard and they are only going to have a few people present. And so we're just working out the final details to get that all done. That way his grandma can be at the wedding and it won't be a huge ordeal to get her in a car and all of that kind of stuff because she just has no strength left in her legs. So yeah. So anyways, I am going to go and I guess I'm going to clean up and start editing this, and we're probably going to be heading to the hospital again. Well, I know we're heading to the hospital again, just not sure what time. So yeah, I need to air out this room. Yeah. I hope to be back sooner than it has been. Considering we are now heading into fall, I don't see us doing much more outdoor stuff. So, you know, I should be back in 2, maybe 3 weeks. Hopefully. So until next time, happy stitching. Take care. Bye.